The Father Martin's relapse segment highlights key portions of his video discussing relapse as a process rather than an event. It focuses on emotional and spiritual hunger as part of this process. Participants are tasked with identifying their own relapse patterns, especially related to isolation, disconnection, and spiritual wellness. The group engages with Father Martin's teachings on the acronym HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, concentrating primarily on emotional and spiritual hunger. Worksheets challenge participants to recognize the roles played by resentment, self-pity, frustration, impatience, overconfidence, complacency, depression, criticism of others, issues of trust versus mistrust, gratitude, prayer, and trusting the recovery process. Father Martin's Symptoms of Alcoholism is designed for self-assessment. It identifies 16 symptoms of alcoholism that patients use to recognize symptoms they have personally experienced. The overarching goal is to draw parallels between Father Martin's symptoms, alcoholism itself, and the DSM-5 diagnostic criteria for substance use disorder. The Chalkboard Talk Intellect over Emotion explores how emotional behaviors contribute to unmanageability. It covers using substances to escape emotions and alter emotional states to avoid discomfort. The Step 1 workshop, based on Father Martin's perspective, is an interactive exploration of the concepts of powerlessness and unmanageability. Participants receive worksheets distinguishing internal and external unmanageability and are asked to examine unmanageability's impact on their relationships. Step 2 with Father Martin discusses developing a belief in a higher power through the experiences of others, finding hope, and the role and effective use of mutual support groups. Finally, Step 3. Letting go of control shows Father Martin's teachings on the third step, prompting discussion around recognizing attempts to control the uncontrollable. Bridging the gap from man rules to the principles of recovery. Many traditional masculine norms, like not asking for help, suppressing emotions, and poor communication, can directly conflict with principles essential for recovery like vulnerability, acceptance, and open sharing. This workshop aims to help men recognize and challenge ingrained gender role beliefs that may impede their recovery progress and growth. You are a new freedom. The negative consequences we experience from active addiction can actually serve as powerful motivators for positive change in our lives. While undoubtedly painful, hitting life's low points due to addiction can provide the wake-up call and perspective shift needed to finally get clean and sober. The worksheets challenge participants to reflect on how the negative impacts of their addiction have paradoxically made them more hopeful and optimistic about their ability to change their circumstances for the better going forward. By taking an honest inventory of how addiction has derailed their lives, they can use those experiences as fuel for mustering the patience, courage, and resolve required to finally break free. The clip from Shawshank Redemption, where the main character finally achieves freedom after overcoming immense obstacles, serves as an inspirational metaphor. The famous line, "Get busy living or get busy dying," encapsulates the fundamental choice we all ultimately face: to remain shackled by the chains of addiction, or to start truly living a life of sobriety and purpose. With work and perseverance, it is possible to break through to the other side into a new freedom, living one day at a time. The film Groundhog Day highlights how active addiction often traps people in a repetitive, routinized cycle that feels inescapable, just like the main character reliving the same day over and over. However, by recognizing patterns and catalysts for change within that cycle, it becomes possible to break free of the exhausting status quo. Running from emotions. Forrest Gump's habit of literal running is used as a metaphor for how substance use allows temporarily running away from or avoiding difficult emotions. The exercises explore times when using served as an unhealthy escape, put one at risk, or provided a perceived purpose, contrasted with Forrest's ultimate realization that he needed to stop running and face life's challenges directly. The central theme seems to be examining how deeply ingrained personal, cultural narratives and coping mechanisms like emotional avoidance can paradoxically impede recovery, while examples from media illustrate these patterns and spark reflection on healthier alternatives. The 13 Truths highlight important life lessons from Matthew McConaughey about defining your own success, persevering through difficulties, staying true to yourself, and continually moving forward. Worksheets for the patients to explore their own 13th truths are provided, followed by an open discussion. The terminal uniqueness concept, exemplified by a movie scene, cautions against thinking you are exempt from facing negative consequences that others experience when engaging in harmful behaviors. The Moving Forward group focuses on the mental and physical benefits of self-forgiveness. Through a symbolic letting go exercise of writing down burdens and burning them, participants learn to release resentments from the past and focus their energy on the present and future. The overarching goal is for patients to recognize their shared experiences, move past perceived differences, and take steps towards personal growth, healing, and making positive life changes. Recovery in Reels is a therapeutic program centered around the book by Ted Perkins. It provides an interactive study guide that analyzes the top 20 films depicting stories of addiction and recovery. The core purpose is to facilitate group discussions evaluating the messages and themes present in these cinematic works within a supportive therapeutic setting. By deconstructing the narratives through a critical lens, participants can gain deeper insights into the experiences and challenges surrounding substance use disorders and the recovery journey. This multimedia approach aims to promote self-reflection, connection with others' stories, and extracting wisdom that can aid in one's own healing process. The Powerlessness Workshop takes an insightful perspective by framing powerlessness not as the core problem of addiction, but rather as a vital part of the solution. Its purpose is to challenge the stigmatizing views that addiction stems from moral failings or personal weaknesses. Instead, it aims to shift the narrative toward one of hope. By accepting certain limitations, individuals can empower themselves to enact meaningful change. The workshop provides a safe space to confront the harsh realities of addiction, while simultaneously nurturing the self-compassion and resolve needed to foster lasting recovery. Participants are guided to recognize their powerlessness over the disease itself as the first courageous step in regaining control over their lives. The Pleasure Unwoven discussion group takes an in-depth look at the disease model of addiction, directly addressing the question of whether alcoholism qualifies as a disease state. Insights are drawn from a featured movie, which highlights key points made by Dr. Macaulay about the persistent, compulsive use of substances despite negative consequences, a tragic hallmark of impaired decision-making in end-stage addiction. The group explores how genetic predispositions, reward pathway circuitry, memory encoding, stress responses, and diminished choice all interplay in the development and continuation of addictive behaviors. Participants complete a worksheet to gain self-awareness about potential genetic influences, early activation of their reward systems, entrenched addictive memories serving as primary coping mechanisms, and stress-induced craving triggers that compromise willpower. Ultimately, this multifaceted approach aims to destigmatize addiction by reframing it as a chronic brain disease, not a moral deficit. Participants come to understand themselves not as bad people trying to get good, but sick people trying to get well. The Recovery Support Tools Workshop provides an invaluable resource for those on the journey of addiction recovery. Its primary objective is to equip participants with a comprehensive toolkit of resources designed to facilitate and reinforce their path towards healing and sustained sobriety. This interactive session highlights a diverse array of helpful applications and platforms, including 1. Chalk Talk, an app for accessing online recovery meetings and fostering community support. 2. Meeting Finder, locates nearby 12-step meetings based on one's location. 3. Calm, guided meditation and mindfulness exercises to promote emotional regulation. 4. 24 hours a day, daily motivation and affirmations tailored for those in recovery. 5. Sober Tracker, empowers individuals to monitor and celebrate milestones in their sobriety. 6. Big Book and NA Basic Text Apps, digital versions of essential recovery literature. 7. Just for Today, inspiring readings and reflections for daily contemplation. 8. Hazelden App, multimedia resources from a renowned addiction treatment center. 9. Guided mindfulness meditation apps, cultivating present moment awareness. By exploring this selection of tools, participants gain access to a powerful support network, relapse prevention strategies, and self-care practices, all within the convenience of mobile applications. The workshop nurtures a comprehensive approach to sustained recovery. This powerful session guides participants through the intricate relapse process using Terence Gorski's clinically validated 15-stage model. However, rather than a dry academic overview, the facilitator humanizes the concepts through candid personal narrative. vividly depicting the internal experiences, distorted thinking patterns, and overwhelming emotional turbulence that addicts grapple with at each stage of relapse. Participants bear witness to an intimate dialogue between the facilitator's sober self and addictive self, externalizing the inner conflict at the heart of addiction. This rhetorical device offers unprecedented insight into the addict's psyche, allowing attendees to develop strategies for recognizing, understanding, and combating the enemy within. The facilitator's first-hand accounts movingly illustrate how seemingly small missteps like emotional avoidance or lapses in self-care can insidiously escalate into a full-blown return to addictive thinking and high-risk situations. From the initial stages of anxiety and denial to the pivotal crisis points and ultimate loss of control, no stone is left unturned. By courageously sharing vulnerabilities from their own struggle, the facilitator cultivates an atmosphere of profound empathy, hope, and motivation for change. Participants gain a roadmap for interrupting the relapse process, along with the reassurance that they need not walk the harrowing path alone. Achieving emotional sobriety is widely recognized as a cornerstone of lasting recovery from alcoholism and addiction. This innovative workshop explores strategies for navigating the turbulent emotional landscapes that can trigger cravings, discomfort, and potential relapse if left unaddressed. Going beyond mere physical sobriety, participants learn to take an active role in managing their thoughts, behaviors, and emotions in a conscious, intentional manner. The core premise is that true freedom lies in liberating oneself from the involuntary control of transient emotional states. Borrowing wisdom from Father Martin's philosophy of applying reason over unbridled emotion, the workshop equips attendees with cognitive behavioral tools to maintain perspective and equilibrium. Through thought-provoking exercises, they develop self-awareness about their unique emotional patterns and triggers. A set of worksheets allows for personal reflection, providing structured avenues to identify, accept, process, and share one's emotional experiences in a healthy way. Participants walk away with tangible coping strategies for achieving emotional sobriety, the ability to feel their feelings fully while responding with mindfulness rather than compulsivity. No longer at the mercy of emotions, those in recovery can cultivate inner stability to create the emotional sobriety foundational for lifelong wellness. The Music and Recovery Workshop harnesses the powerful therapeutic potential of music as a means of self-expression and emotional processing. This innovative approach recognizes that the profound lyrics and melodies of songs often resonate deeply, articulating the human experience in ways that transcend words alone. In an interactive group setting, participants are exposed to a curated selection of music spanning genres and eras. However, the facilitator refrains from imposing predetermined meanings. Instead, each attendee is challenged to listen inwardly, identifying personal connections that the music evokes within them. For some, a song's lyrics may validate the struggles and triumphs they've faced on their recovery journey. For others, the raw emotion conveyed through the melodies provides a cathartic release for feelings they've struggled to communicate. The workshop creates a safe, non-judgmental space for participants to share what the music symbolizes for their unique narratives. By using music as the universal language, this innovative approach allows group members to access and articulate aspects of their inner selves that may have previously remained inexpressible. It promotes self-awareness, validation, shared understanding, and healing through creative expression. The Recovery Grid is a comprehensive self-evaluation tool designed to holistically assess and cultivate wellness across 4 interconnected domains: social, biological, psychological, and spiritual. Its purpose is to empower individuals to proactively build positive capital in each area, laying the groundwork for lifelong recovery. In the biological realm, the focus is on stress management, treating co-occurring mental health issues like anxiety and depression, optimizing sleep and hydration, exploring anti-craving medications, and maintaining regular check-ins with a primary care provider. Developing this biological capital lays the physiological foundation for healing. The spiritual dimension emphasizes practices like prayer, meditation, gratitude, humility, and radical honesty with oneself. Cultivating these assets nurtures connection to something greater, providing meaning, purpose, and accountability. On the psychological front, participants develop their capital through therapy engagement, emotional intelligence, managing cognitive distortions, and nurturing self-worth. This self-work facilitates growth, insight, and emotional regulation. Finally, the social capital component assesses one's support system, ability to trust, and capacity for healthy relationships, romantic, platonic, and professional. As highly relational beings, fostering positive social capital is vital. Helpers. Helping Helpers is a supportive fellowship for mental health professionals in the field of addiction treatment. It recognizes that while these careering individuals are committed to facilitating recovery in others, they can often neglect their own self-care in the process. This tight-knit community provides a safe and sacred space for helpers to receive support from their peers. The core premise is that personal well-being, mental, emotional, spiritual, is not a luxury but an absolute necessity for those called to this meaningful yet demanding vocation. Participants understand that their ability to effectively guide others is inextricably linked to their own state of mind and self-nurturance. In candid sharing circles, helpers engage in reciprocal giving and receiving of experience, strength, and hope. They learn from one another's journeys, extracting solution-focused strategies to safeguard their personal growth amid the intense work of holding space for others' healing. Discussions are non-institutionally aligned, allowing for vulnerable exploration beyond professional roles. For those that may be carrying the dual weight of being both helpers and individuals in recovery themselves, the group offers a judgment-free haven to process the unique challenges at this intersection. Personality clashes, emotional drains, and spiritual malaise are unpacked with others who can relate firsthand. Grounded in a 12-step philosophy of mutuality, Helpers. Helping Helpers is an empathic anchor that guides these natural caregivers back to their own care. It reminds them that to fully embody their callings, they must invest in their own well-being or risk burnout and compassion fatigue. Cycle of anxiety and behavioral activation planning. Depression, anxiety in conjunction with substance use disorder can rob individuals of motivation, disconnecting them from once enjoyed activities and perpetuating a cycle of emotional withdrawal. Behavioral activation is a powerful therapeutic technique that disrupts this pattern by re-engaging participants with sources of meaning, fulfillment, and positivity. In an open group setting, members are challenged to identify motivating activities and experiences aligned with their core values and desired life path. Too often, people go through the motions based on externally imposed expectations rather than internal drives. This exercise encourages deep self-reflection to rediscover authentic sources of passion that may have fallen by the wayside during active addiction. Guided by thought-provoking prompts and worksheets, participants conduct a self-exploratory journey to answer, what matters most to me? What kind of person do I want to be? What dreams and joys once invigorated me? By unearthing these nuggets of personal significance, individuals can curate an individualized menu of behavioral activations inherently rewarding to them. The facilitator emphasizes that imposing activities misaligned with one's true interests will inevitably lack sustaining motivation. Only by acting from an internalized locus of desire and value can mood be lifted through re-engagement. Each participant crafts their unique blueprint through provided worksheets for reclaiming joy, purpose, and social connectedness. Behavioral activation disrupts the cycle of depression and anxiety by empowering individuals to intentionally replenish their lives with meaning according to a self-authored design. This process nurtures hope and self-determination, core assets for lasting wellness. Guided by thought-provoking prompts and worksheets, participants conduct a self-exploratory journey to answer, what matters most to me? What kind of person do I want to be? What dreams and joys once invigorated me? By unearthing these nuggets of personal significance, individuals can curate an individualized menu of behavioral activations inherently rewarding to them. The facilitator emphasizes that imposing activities misaligned with one's true interests will inevitably lack sustaining motivation. Only by acting from an internalized locus of desire and value can mood be lifted through re-engagement. Each participant crafts their unique blueprint through provided worksheets for reclaiming joy, purpose, and social connectedness. Behavioral activation disrupts the cycle of depression and anxiety by empowering individuals to intentionally replenish their lives with meaning according to a self-authored design. This process nurtures hope and self-determination, core assets for lasting wellness. Guided by thought-provoking prompts and worksheets, participants conduct a self-exploratory journey to answer, what matters most to me? What kind of person do I want to be? What dreams and joys once invigorated me? By unearthing these nuggets of personal significance, Individuals can curate an individualized menu of behavioral activations inherently rewarding to them. The facilitator emphasizes that imposing activities misaligned with one's true interests will inevitably lack sustaining motivation. Only by acting from an internalized locus of desire and value can mood be lifted through re-engagement. Each participant crafts their unique blueprint through provided worksheets for reclaiming joy, purpose, and social connectedness. Behavioral activation disrupts the cycle of depression and anxiety by empowering individuals to intentionally replenish their lives with meaning according to a self-authored design. This process nurtures hope and self-determination. Cultivating a strong and sustainable recovery support network is pivotal for long-term sobriety. The Home Group Workshop provides an insightful roadmap for individuals to establish a reliable base of operations, a recovery home where they can plant roots, give back, and experience the restorative power of community. Through interactive activities, participants gain clarity on the purpose and dynamics of home groups within mutual aid fellowships. They learn to identify the specific meeting types, formats, and group personalities that align best with their personal needs and perspectives. From big book study groups to speaker meetings, the variety empowers individuals to find their niche. But a home group is more than just attending. The workshop outlines the various service roles and responsibilities that facilitate a group's healthy functioning while providing opportunities for members to be of service to others. Greeting, setting up, participating in discussions, celebrating milestones. These engagements help attendees tap into a renewing sense of purpose. Beyond logistics, the heart of the workshop explores the profound benefits of having a recovery home base. Participants explore how consistent involvement allows them to form lasting, sober support networks, benefit from witnessing others' journeys, and experience the accountability and belonging that can be vital prophylactics against relapse. Through guided self-reflection exercises, individuals are challenged to deeply contemplate their personal goals and needs to determine their ideal home group fit. The aim is to empower each person to consciously select and invest in a recovery community that will become their anchor in recovery. The Isms of Alcoholism Workshop takes an unflinching look at the deeply ingrained behavioral patterns and distorted thinking styles that enable and protect an individual's addiction. Its purpose is to promote self-awareness and personal accountability regarding the defects of character that have historically undermined recovery efforts. In a non-shaming environment, participants are guided to candidly identify and verbalize the specific isms, manifesting in their own lived experiences. Common examples include dishonesty, isolation, emotional avoidance, cognitive distortions, gaslighting, manipulation, rationalization, justification, and minimization related to their substance use. As individuals voice their recognitions aloud, the facilitator visibly maps these isms out, allowing participants to see the intricate web of self-destructive behaviors converging to insidiously safeguard the addiction. This exercise starkly lays the harsh reality that alcoholism addiction is a powerful force. However, this sobering self-reflection has an empowering intent to equip individuals with the ability to name, deconstruct, and dismantle the very patterns that have obstructed their path to wellness. By shining a light on these isms, they can no longer operate invisibly in the shadows, instead being consciously acknowledged and remedied. The overarching goal is for participants to develop a working blueprint of the specific behaviors and thought tendencies antithetical to their recovery that must be vigilantly monitored and counteracted through a program of personal growth. With clarity and resolve, they can progress in re-scripting their habitual narratives. The Fear Workshop takes an incisive look at the paradoxical yet powerful role that fear plays in perpetuating addiction and obstructing recovery. Participants gain insight into how seemingly irrational fears fuel the preservation of deeply rooted character defects and self-destructive behaviors. The first step is cultivating awareness around the many insidious guises that fear can take, from overt anxiety and trepidation to more covert manifestations like denial, procrastination, people-pleasing, and comfort-seeking. Attendees explore how their unique fear profiles, shaped by experiences like abandonment or failure, directly contribute to the mental obsession and addictive patterns in their lives. However, the workshop's ultimate aim is to reframe fear itself, from being an intractable roadblock to an understandable and surmountable part of the human experience. Using thought-provoking acronyms like FEAR, Face Everything and Recover, and AFRAID, another freaking resistance to avoid internal development, Participants are equipped with constructive lenses for viewing their fears as catalysts for growth rather than sources of paralysis. Facilitators guide frank discussions around common fears in recovery, like success failure, life without substances, the unknown future, financial instability, and losing supportive connections. Individuals realize they are not alone in wrestling with such anxieties. More importantly, they cultivate tools for leaning into the discomfort and allowing their fears to take a back seat to their hopes, dreams, and values. By normalizing and demystifying fear's grip, the workshop nurtures courage as the antidote, the courage to walk through trepidations rather than around them on the path to authentic transformation. Participants cultivate resilience by loosening fear's shackles, allowing their truest and best selves to take the lead. Within the culture of mutual aid fellowships like AA and NA, sayings, acronyms, and slogans have become a sort of philosophical shorthand. However, for newcomers, these quirky mantras can feel like an indecipherable code. The Recovery Sayings and Slogans Workshop demystifies this lingo, unpacking their deeper meanings to uncover practical wisdom for everyday sobriety. Participants dive into the origins and intent behind commonly heard phrases, many of which derive from the fellowship's texts, the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the NA Basic Text. What seems like cliché on the surface actually holds profound recovery principles and lived experience passed down through generations of the sober community. Rather than lecturing definitions, the interactive workshop guides individuals to develop personalized understandings of how these sayings resonate with their own journeys. Using reflective worksheets, attendees select specific slogans or acronyms that speak to them, whether one day at a time, halt, or think, think, think. They then unpack the personal significance through prompted self-inquiry. An open sharing component allows participants to bring these loaded phrases to life by relating the saying to their authentic experiences, struggles, and realizations in addiction and recovery. As each shares their unique take, others bear witness to the multitude of ways these succinct codes can be embodied as lifelines. What may have once felt like exclusive lingo becomes an inclusive tapestry connecting individuals through their common humanity. The Recovery Sayings and Slogans Workshop reappropriates this shared language, empowering attendees to derive personal aphorisms that can serve as portals to community, accountability, and truth.